It's time to learn Japanese fighting game terms like a cultured gaijin. Today's word is option select. Option selects are a set of inputs that yield different results based on situation. A really simple one would be throws in King of Fighters. Throws in that series is done by pressing forward or back in a strong attack. So if you're close enough to a grounded opponent, you'll get a throw, but if you don't meet those conditions, you get whatever normal that you inputted. So same inputs, different results. If you want more details on how this concept works, check out the guide on this channel. Anyways, this one is quite tricky as there is no one-to-one equivalence. One of the closest words is shikomi, which roughly translates to preparation. This describes the action of buffering inputs. For example, if you are throwing out special cancelable normals and neutral that will not hit unless an opponent runs into it, you might as well buffer and attack that combos. In this case, I would describe this situation as ルークのしゃがみ中盤にドライブラッシュを押し込む Buffering drive rush in Luke's crouching medium punch. The interesting part about this one is that you generally use a different word when buffering for execution. Let's say you want to buffer a shoryuken input on wake up. In Japanese, we use the word senkou nyūryoku, which means to input in advance. So something like senkou nyūryoku de shoryuken o dasu. Execute shoryuken with buffered inputs. In English, we use the word buffer for both cases, but in Japanese, different words are used due to changes in intent. Another word that can be used to describe options like this, 自動二択. 自動 means automatic, and 二択 is two options. We covered the latter in the previous video where I talked about mix-ups. So if we put these together, it would translate to automatic two options. Here's an example of Ino doing okizeme against Sin in Guilty Gear Xrd. She'll do a dash aerial slash and time a backdash input. If Sin blocks, she'll hit him with aerial slash and the backdash input will be ignored. But if he decides to do an invincible reversal, backdash would come out to void it. In Japanese, we can describe this situation as バックダッシュを仕込むことで自動二択ができる. By buffering backdash, we can cover two options. Anyways, this is how you describe option selects and buffers in Japanese. But before we end this video, I'll be responding to the comments from the previous mix-up video. They also use chuge for high-low and sayu for left-right. Great comment! I can't believe I didn't think about putting this in the video. Especially because the word chu and ge were described in the first video where I talked about strike properties. Go check that one if you haven't. The word sayu though is not incorrect, but not commonly used in the community, at least in the games I play or watch. To me, hyori is the word that comes to mind. Hyo is another way to read omote, which is front, and ri is another way of reading ura, which means back. So front-back mix-up. As an additional note, I prefer adding the word taku after these words. So something like chuge taku ga tsuyoi. It's a bit more descriptive in my opinion. Although Japanese is a context-based language, so either may work based on situation and sentence structure. I was wondering for this video how I would say something like nice mix-up to my opponent. Does ii taku work? Or would that be confused with simply complimenting my opponent on the choice they made? You are correct on your assumption. If I were to compliment my opponent's mix-up, I would say something like ii seme. Seme is offense, so good offense. Although, complimenting an opponent on their choices still relates to their mix-up. You can say things like, taku no erabikata ga umai. The way they choose their mix-up options are good. I need some toxicity in my life. How do you say you're washed, you're free, hold that forever, or something along those lines? You know, this is a family-friendly channel, so I'm only going to teach you one. Rakusho literally translates to easy win. Here's an example in tournament setting. 次の相手シリフだね。自信は？シリフ？楽勝楽勝。Hey, technically it was 2 times in a row because there was no comment section in the first video. By the way, the Street Fighter crowd calls throw loops judo in Japanese, like the martial arts. You know, because it revolves around throwing your opponents. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions or suggestions for future words to cover, let me know in the comments. Alright, until next time, have fun with fighting games.